I've thought a lot about public education and the arts because it's important to me that kids are recognised as having some of the greatest abilities that nature has ever developed and are given the tools to employ and enjoy them. I don't think there's one magic bullet to solving our problems of education, but there are a number of issues that I think are useful to consider. One is that we rely too much on teaching answers, on facts. What's interesting are the fact that kids ask questions. The questions are what are natural. Every kid grows up asking, where did I come from? Where am I going? Am I alone in the universe? These are fascinating questions. But they don't realize that they are able to ask these questions because they are, by birthright, natural-born artists. And so I would like to base a curriculum more on questions than answers, because the process of asking the questions and figuring out how to address them is what the arts is all about. Now, of course, finding answers is important, and being able to distinguish those questions which have answers and those that don't is rightly addressed in science classes. But answers are not primarily important because most kids won't become scientists. But all kids will continue to be artists and poets and novelists, because that's what being alive and awake is all about. I'm a teacher, so I know the biggest mistake any teacher makes is to assume their students are interested in what they're saying. Because if you are a teacher or a writer or anyone else, what you have to do is you have to go out to where they are and convince them that what you're talking about is relevant to what they're interested in. You have to meet them where they are, as I often say. And meeting them where they are means recognizing that they are already artists and poets and musicians, and it's the fact that they are already artists that is giving them the capacity to ask questions in the first place. It's not copying out lines of Shakespeare from Spark Notes or drawing bowls of fruit. It's, how am I making sense of all this? Is my sense the same as your sense? What if we're wrong? All of those, questions that people are fascinated by. We know that before children can even talk, they're already trying to make sense of the world. Their developing brains are already processing their experience, and the only words to describe this processing are something like artistic or poetic. They are piecing together their world through a natural ability to create narratives that would put the greatest novelist to shame. They look at 1,000 different trees and somehow manage to generate an abstract sense of that treeness that leaves Picasso, Van Doesburg or Brancusi in the dust. A child can invent God on the fly before the age of 3. If we really want to meet these children where we teach where they are, we should remember that where they are is no quizzical void, but is seething with creativity, with poetry, with art. The fact that the arts encourage that capacity to ask the most remarkable questions that are in each of us is what we want to instill in children. So it would be great to develop a curriculum where we base it on the very capacity to ask questions and to make sense of the world that children do so naturally. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that if teachers are going to teach it, they have to be comfortable enough with the material to be able to go off in different directions. And one of the big problems is our teachers aren't trained in the arts. Many believe that the arts are, at best, a decorative addition to human knowledge, and not, in fact, the ground from which it springs. Now, if you're not comfortable with the arts, what you'll inevitably do is to teach to the curriculum. You'll feel comfortable with the colouring and the rhyming exercises that are in the book, and you'll teach that. So the real problem, of course, is we need to do a better job of training teachers so that they can feel comfortable to go off in different directions. If they'll express a level of discomfort, that comes down to the students. I remember when my son was in year 6, the teacher was getting the children to write each paragraph of their essays in different colours so that it was more artistic. You could see the discomfort in the teacher and feel the kids' understanding of what art was being corralled into the most trivial of concerns. So we have to do a much better job of training teachers. I don't think that poetry and art and music are more important than science. I believe in knowledge. It's incredibly important. Gaining knowledge of those processes by which, as Jacques Rancière puts it, some discourse escapes literature and gives itself the status of science is crucial to a proper understanding of creative expression. I'm certainly not arguing for differential pay scales for humanities teachers to those who teach maths and science. But we disregard the humanities at our peril. And we do a great disservice to the students if we insist that we will make no move to meet them where they are. Where they are artists, poets, novelists, and musicians. And we need teachers to be brave enough and smart enough to go out there and meet them.